the worst thing that happened was during my vows. And I know what you're thinking, Adria, did you faint? No, worse. Is it really that hard to open a Gatorade? All right, boss babes, grab your tea. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Adria. Welcome back to my lovely YouTube channel. So for today's video, we are going to be giving Adria anxiety. But what else is new? I'm going to be diving through the internet and finding some wedding horror stories, as well as sharing some things that happened at my wedding that were less than ideal. I want to give a huge shout out on Patreon to David Kent and April Rose. Thank you both for joining the Patreon gang. I actually plan on perhaps sharing my entire wedding ceremony there. And as you will find out from this video, there were some embarrassing things that happened. Subscribe. I'm actually going to be starting up my new channel soon. I think I'm going to kick it off with a bit of a deep dive into the unsustainable world of Dollar Tree. It's kind of random, but I actually used to work at Dollar Tree. So look forward to that while I do my research and hopefully don't get sued. I have no money, don't sue me. So let's get started. Oh, also, I know it's more wedding content, so shouts out to this guy, Gary, who probably isn't that happy. Gary, I hope you're having a miserable time watching this. Also, who says special snowflake in 2022? That gives me the ick. It's giving 2016. Comment below something that gives you the ick. Whatever. Okay, so my mom actually found this post on Facebook. It says, what went wrong on your wedding day? And dear God, this girl says the groom turned up. Cheers, Becky. Girl. I mean, that was something that I was relatively afraid of happening. Like, oh, what if Brandon doesn't show up? But then I'm thinking, one, we're already legally married, and two, we've been together for 9 years. I feel like he would have ran away by now if he was gonna. My 8-year-old son thought I would no longer be his mother because my name would be different. Oh, never thought he could think that way. My heart broke for him. He cried, not knowing how to tell me. Once he knew no matter what, I would always be his mom. He had a great time during our reception. Oh, that's heartbreaking. So I will share a little later on, but there was something that happened at the wedding where my niece, who's only 3, thought that Brandon and I were mad at her. Little kids being upset. What? Look, I don't even like kids all that much, and that's still... it's a little sad to me. My sister's water broke in church. My mother-in-law went to the hospital between the service and meal and came back with a cast on her leg. Wait, am I reading this right? What just happened? Wait, her water broke? How did her leg break? And my little usher got locked in the church toilet. Wait, someone went into labor, someone broke their leg, and someone got locked in a bathroom. At least it wasn't all the same person. The hairstylist I hired to do mine and the bridesmaids didn't show. If I would have read this before my wedding, I think I would have actually had a panic attack and maybe canceled the whole thing. This guy said, I said, I do. Are we here to trauma dump or are we here to be funny? Someone's trauma dumping in the comments again. I want that on a t-shirt. She's trauma dumping in the comments again. We couldn't hear our pastor or vows over the ducks. I mean, I have something similar to this. I kind of had 2 weddings, and our first one was just like legalizing our marriage, right? And this was last year. During the ceremony that was in my mom's living room, you could hear my mom's dog licking his the entire time.
With the flags to love you.
God rest his soul. I miss you, Colt, but like, read the room a little. I didn't listen to my maid of honor and run away with her instead. That was wrong. So wrong. I could have avoided marriage nightmare. Oh, can you imagine? That would be like a Lifetime movie. Her best friend, who's like so gorgeous, she's just the moment, is like, no, take me instead. And then they run away together. Oh my gosh, I want to write a fanfic about these people I don't even know. At the last minute, whilst I stood in my hallway waiting to leave for the church, all dressed in white, Mom said that it wasn't too late to pull out. Moms are always right. Wish I'd listened to her more. She's trauma dumping in the comments again. And I kind of had that thought, like, oh no, is someone gonna try to talk me out of this? And if they do, what am I gonna say? You could have told me 9 years ago. Comment down below if you would have the guts to tell somebody on their wedding day that they shouldn't go through with it, because I have had fantasies of like being at a wedding and just being the drama. I think this is my inner Leo coming out and just being like, don't do it. Let me know in the comments if you would ever do that. If you really felt it in your gut that it wasn't the right thing to do, not just to be the drama. My husband forgot to tell his groomsmen that there was a rehearsal before the rehearsal dinner. They only showed up to eat. And it poured down all day, which we thought was a disaster until our photographer snapped this pic. Oh, that is an amazing picture. So the groomsmen did not show up to the rehearsal. The weather was a huge fear of mine, and it's one of those things that you can't control. And I think that's the hardest part of planning a wedding, is letting go of the stuff that you have zero control over. I was super afraid that it would rain, that it would be freezing, that it would be hot. But my wedding ended up being 64 degrees and not a cloud in the sky, sunny, all of the flowers were in bloom. Like it was absolutely gorgeous. The very next Saturday after our wedding was pouring down rain and freezing cold. All the cherry blossoms turned green. I felt very much blessed. But, you know, it's stories like this, you can make the most of anything. And that's what I was trying to think about with my wedding day. Like, no matter what, it's my wedding day and it's gonna be special. But a few things did go wrong. So the first thing that really went wrong with the wedding was I was flying one of my viewers, Maddie, out to do the photography. She texted me the day before that her flight got moved to later that night. I was expecting to go pick her up and come back to the hotel and then do the rehearsal, but everything got kind of jacked and that was stressing me out, but that ended up working out. So then I could not sleep at all. You're nervous, you're excited, you're anxious. Like, of course you can't sleep. There's people that are perfectly functional human beings that can go about their day if they've had 3 hours of sleep. That is not me. I probably took more sleep aids than I should have. Z-Quil, and I took Benadryl, and I'm pretty sure you're not even supposed to take those together, and I still couldn't sleep. Inside my body was like My now ex-stepmom messaged me the morning of to say that she and her mom, dad, and daughter weren't coming. So I had to sort 4 people in, easily done, and preferred the stand-ins, LOL, but unneeded stress. I didn't have anybody cancel super last minute, but there was a lot of like people being able to come at the very last minute. I'm talking like 10 days before, like, oh hey, I can come now. People that were very close to me not coming. You know, all day long on your wedding day, like the people that can't come, you're like hearing from people, people calling you, texting you. Someone in my family did not call or text me all day. Or the next day. Or the day after that. She's trauma dumping. Adria's trauma dumping again. And maybe I shouldn't even be sharing this, but you know what? It was something that happened to me. And if this person didn't want me saying this, then maybe they shouldn't have done this. Just saying. I told my therapist I'm in my F around and find out era. This same person also said it rained, my dad got extremely drunk, mother-in-law also got drunk and emotional against her ex-husband, our photographer was rubbish, didn't see that a background was see-through that we all stood against, and I changed my 4-month-old nappy in a disabled toilet in my wedding dress. Other than that, it was fabulous. That's good to hear. That's honestly how I feel too. Despite the bad things that happened, I still have this overwhelming sense of like, wow, it was the best day of my life. And I guess that's the good news here. A few things that I was really afraid of for the wedding day. One was my dress fitting properly and having a boob slip. That did not happen. Whoever invented tape to hold up dresses, your spot in heaven is... Another thing I was afraid of was fainting. And I'm not gonna spoil it later in the video, but that comes up. Grab a literal cup of tea for this one. So my wedding day. If you wanna go join the Patreon to see the full wedding ceremony video, my little 3-year-old niece May was supposed to be our flower girl. And she was gonna carry this little sign that said, "Here comes the bride." The night before the wedding, we had a rehearsal and she practiced it like a bunch of times. She did great, she was so excited. The moment comes, we're all standing outside. outside, ready to walk in. She was good, she was excited, she was jumping around, she was happy. The second it was her time to go, she flaked. My expectations of a 3-year-old, the bar's on the floor. I was not mad or upset at all. She's a toddler. She's a little child. Now, if she had been 10 years old, I probably would have kicked her ass. But I look forward to the day in the future when she can comprehend everything, where I can grill her about it. I'm gonna give her that "Here Comes the Bride" sign as a gift one day. Maybe I should give it to her for her wedding and be like, I hope your sign girl doesn't flake. For real, it was fine. But my brother was there. Her dad is my brother. Yeah, that's how that goes. He was so disappointed. Like, he was trying to encourage her to go, and she was like stomping her feet. My brother and I look at each other and we're like, I said to my brother, I'm like, what do we do? And he's like, we gotta just leave her. We have to go. Like, there was nobody else out there. So we had to just leave this 3-year-old in this hotel hallway. And like, oh, I felt so bad. And it was kind of one of those things where I had been looking forward to that for years. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't. So my brother walks me to the end of the aisle. I'm looking at Brandon the whole time. I don't see anything else going on. Then out of nowhere, I hear my niece screaming. That's what everyone wants at their wedding, a screaming child. And like, what's really funny is that I have 2 smaller nieces. I was worried about them. I guess my brother had gone out to get my niece and like bring her in. So then I guess he picked her up and was taking her back to their hotel room because she wasn't cooperating, and she was screaming and we could hear her. But luckily when the ceremony began, they were pretty far off in the distance, but I was just like, oh brother. I know my brother felt so bad about this happening. It's whatever. But then at the reception, I forget who shared with me, they were like, oh, May thinks that you and Brandon are mad at her because like she didn't walk. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna make children feel guilty in 2022. That's not what we're here to do. So we were like calling her over, reassured her that all was well, that we love her, and we're Gucci family, it's fine. At the reception, she wanted to walk down the aisle. I'm like, now you wanna do it? If that's one of the worst things that happened, I would say it was a good day. Oh my gosh. So I made a video a few months ago talking about how I fainted and went to the hospital. Y'all might remember that. And one of my fears leading up to the wedding was my health. Just not feeling dizzy, not feeling lightheaded, not fainting especially. I had all of these thoughts of like, should I have prepared something to sit? What if I faint? Right before the ceremony was about to begin, I'm standing out in the hallway. This rush of dizziness came over me and I was like, oh dear God. I crouched down on the floor. I'm like squatting on the floor trying to breathe. My mom and Brandon's mom are like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just really anxious. And I think that's the hard thing with like anxiety and fainting anxiety, is that anxiety makes you dizzy and dizziness makes you anxious, and you got both. So what's going on here? My stepdad, who was the officiant, came out to like check on us, and he brought me some water. Everybody was just like helping me to breathe slowly and calmly, and I was able to pull myself together, and I was like, all right, I think I'm good. But girl, so during the ceremony, we said a prayer at the beginning and we closed our eyes. So when we closed our eyes, I immediately felt like I was gonna fall over because I couldn't see anything. And if you feel lightheaded or dizzy, like close your eyes and try to stand still. And I was in high heels. What I did was I reached out and I held Brandon's hands to like hold me secure, and like it probably looks sweet. Girl, I was holding his hands so that I didn't fall over. So then the next horror story came with our sand ceremony. So during that ceremony, Brandon's sand wasn't pouring out.
They also represent your lives before today, as these 2 containers live together as one.
Those little mini ceremonies are the drama of weddings because they never work. And then sand got all over the table, but like we had a good laugh about it. And that wasn't really even that bad.
Marriage is sometimes messy.
Yeah. I dried out my sand. I put it on a plate and I sat it out in the sun, but we forgot to tell Brandon's mom to dry out the sand, so it was just damp and it didn't pour, but. So then quite possibly the worst thing that happened was during my vows. Yay. And I know what you're thinking, Adria, did you faint? No, worse. I was reading my vows, which I wrote, and this was something I was so nervous about. I get the performance anxiety, and I was already reading something super emotional. It's not like I was just giving a speech, you know? It was something heartfelt and very vulnerable, and so during my vows, as I am standing there pouring my heart out, a phone rings. Hey, Alexa, what's the loudest sound on Earth?
Krakatoa erupted with a sound that is considered the loudest sound ever, clocking in at 310 decibels.
Okay, yeah, a phone rang louder than a volcano erupting. Louder than your upstairs neighbor. Oh, God. The whole room went dead silent. It was Brandon's dad's phone, and Brandon's mom turned around. She made this face like... She looked like she wanted to fight somebody. Everyone else was kind of just like T-posing. What is going on? And it's not even like it rang for a second and he caught it and turned it off. Like it rang for like a good 10 seconds, right? So I got a screaming baby and a phone going off. It was fine. It was like, it's fine. But on the inside, I'm like, nothing that chaotic happened at any other point in the day. The ceremony was literally like 10 minutes. I couldn't have 10 minutes of y'all not being chaotic? But y'all, there was a bit of a silver lining here. The way I look at it was, it gave me a second to compose myself, because even my stepdad like looked at me and was like, just take a breath. And then I was able to pick back up where I left off. In a way, it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. My vows were a lot more smooth and I was able to actually like get my words out without like bawling. Everybody told me leading up to it, like, just let go of the things that you don't control. And if you do that, you'll have a great time. And I did that. I was enjoying the day. I mean, at one point when we were in the car, I even went to open Pokemon Go and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? No, we're not Pokemon going today. Pokemon Go to the polls. I was soaking it all in, girl. Like, there were points in the night I was just looking around and just taking it all in. That's the most I could do. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like up the video and subscribe for more fun videos just like this one. I'm gonna try my best to post once a week. You know, we'll get back to there. She's in therapy now. She's trying. She's improving her life. And if you haven't yet seen my wedding day video, that is linked up in the cards. I will see you guys again real soon. Until then, panda hugs. Love you guys. Go with the flow. Bye! Is catastrophize a real word?
It's not a real word.
Thanks. Your mind is so focused on just doing the thing. Oh, that sounded so millennial of me. I'm sorry.